What's up, everybody? My name is Alan Lewis. I'm your host for the Music Sound Influence podcast. And for today, I'm going to be talking about the best albums of 2023. So let's get into it. So for my first pick, I'm going to be talking about is Reuben James and Cartoon's album entitled Champagne Kisses. When it came to this album, I really enjoyed the production and the vocals and overall presence when it came to this album. When it comes to Reuben James, he made my best albums of 2022 list, which you guys can go check out here. I really enjoy this album as a whole, and I like the funky bass line, the trumpets and the drums and the piano keys on the song entitled Champagne Kisses. I really love the piano, the flute, the saxophone, the drums on Means the World with Braxton Cook. And I like how their vocals played off each other when it came to that song. I like the synth, piano keys, and the drums on This Could Be. And I like the vocals on that track as well. And I really enjoyed the drums, the keys, the bass guitar, and the strings on Love Stone. I really enjoy the drums, the piano keys, and the guitar on Sun Goes Down. And overall, as a whole, when it came to this album, I really enjoy the production and I really enjoy the vocals. And overall, I really recommend you guys go listen to this album. It's definitely one of my favorites. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Braxton Cook's album entitled Who Are You When No One Is Watching. I really enjoyed this album as a whole. He incorporated R&B and jazz so well into this album. And on this album, lyrically, he's talking about love, being a parent, and a lot more. And he made my best albums of 2020 list when it came to his album entitled Fire Sign. You guys can go check it out here. I really enjoyed this album as a whole. I love the guitar, the saxophone, the bass, guitar, the drums, and his vocals on the track entitled Statistics. I love the saxophone, the piano, the drums, and the feel of the track entitled Indie. I love the drums, the saxophone, the trumpet, the vocals, and the guitar on the track entitled The Same. And it overall has a night feel to it that I really enjoy. And I like the drums and the synths and the guitar on the track entitled Let Go. And I also liked his vocals on this track as well. And I love the saxophone, the slow drum, and the feel of the track entitled Black Mona Lisa. It has a jazz club feel to it, which I really, really enjoyed. And overall, I recommend you guys go listen to this album. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I just love the overall production feel when it came to this album and the vocals and the topics that he was talking about. I really enjoyed this album as a whole, and I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Teddy Bryant's album entitled Dinner for Two. When it comes to this album, I really enjoyed the production and the vocals on this album. I also enjoyed the background vocals on this album. Lyrically on this album, he's talking about being in love with somebody. I love the saxophone, the synth keys, and the drums on the track entitled Bunches of Love. And I love his vocals on this track as well. I love the thick drums, the guitar, and the keys on the track entitled Wrapped Around Your Finger. And I love the keys, the bass guitar, the drums, the synths, the saxophone, and the bongos on the track entitled Comfort Me. And I love his vocals on that track as well. I love the Rhodes piano, the flute, the synth keys on the track entitled Give Me That Love. And I love the house drums, the keys, and the vocals on the track entitled Two Step. It had a 90s house feel to it that I really enjoyed. And overall, as a whole, I really enjoyed this album. And I want to say congratulations to him on his Grammy nomination. I really enjoyed this album as a whole, and I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Pink Panther's album entitled Heaven Knows. I really enjoyed this album when it came to the production and the overall feel of it. Her voice reminds me of FKA Twigs. In this album, she incorporated two-step house music, UK garage, and R&B. And on this album, she's talking about love. I really enjoyed the drums and the synths and the spacey sounds of the track entitled The Owl. It has a nostalgic feel to it. I love the tablas, the drums, and the synths on the track entitled Nice to Meet You with Central C. I like the track entitled Ophelia, which reminds me of the 2000s. It really reminds me of the track entitled 1,000 Miles. And I love the drums and the harp and the bass that's on that track. I love the track entitled Feel Complete, which reminds me of the 2000s with the synths, the strings, and the video game-esque sounds. And I love the drums and the sounds and the bass line and the house feel of the track entitled Blue. And overall, I recommend you guys go listen to this album. It's definitely one of my favorites. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Janelle Monáe's album entitled The Age of Pleasure. When it came to this album, it has a summer feel to it. I love the vibrant sounds that's on this album. And When it comes to this album, I really enjoy the background vocals and the production when it came to this album. And I love the drums, the guitar, and the bass guitar on the track entitled Lipstick Lover. And I really liked her vocals on that track as well. I love the Sister Nancy sample that she did on Water Slide. And I love the reggae feel of it. I love the drums and the guitar. I love the trumpets and the horns and the drums and the saxophone sample that she used on the track entitled No Better. And I love how she approached the song entitled I Only Have Eyes for Two. I love the reggae feel to it with the drums and the guitar. And I love her vocals on that track. And I like how she ended the album with the track entitled A Dry Red, which has a nice feel to it, very laid back feel to it that I really enjoyed with the guitar and the drums. And I like how she approached this song vocally. Overall, I recommend you guys go listen to this album. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I like how with each of the songs on this album, they transition so well with each other. And congratulations to her on her Grammy nomination. And I definitely recommend you guys go check this out. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is October London's album. I really enjoyed the production and the overall feel of this album. October London's voice really reminds me of Marvin Gaye with the way that he approaches the songs and the way that he sings the songs. I really enjoyed this album as a whole. And on this album, he's talking about love. I love the track entitled Back to Your Place with the nice drums, the keys, the guitar, and the vocals on that track. I really enjoyed. I love the guitar, the vocals, the trumpets, and the drums on the track entitled Roller Coaster. I love the guitar, drums, and the key synths that he used on Midnight Love Affair. And I love the drums, the bongos, the guitar on Mulholland Drive with Snoop Dogg and Latoya Williams. And I love the 70s feel to the track entitled Make Me Wanna. And I love the guitar and the drums and the saxophone. And overall as a whole, I really enjoyed this album from start to finish. It's definitely one of my favorites. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Cleo Sol's album entitled Gold. When it came to this album, I really enjoyed her vocals, the production, and the lyrics. On this album, lyrically, she's encouraging people who are going through things, and she's talking about being lost, love, and having faith. And I love the drums, the piano, and the guitar on the track entitled There Will Be No Crying. And I love the guitar and the drums on the track entitled Reason. I love the piano and her vocals on the track entitled Only Love Can Wait. And I love the piano, the vocals, and the message on the track entitled Please Don't End It All. And I love the 60s feel of the track entitled Lost Angel with the drums and the gospel-esque background vocals. And overall, I really enjoyed this album as a whole. It really has a nice message to it. And it's definitely one of my favorites for the year. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Kenyon Dixon's album entitled The R&B You Love. When it comes to this album, I really enjoyed the production, the vocals, and the lyrics on this album. And on this album, he's talking about being in love. And I like the way that he layers his voice on this album and the background vocals. I really enjoy that aspect of this album. And one of the things that I noticed on this album is that a lot of the songs, they transition very well between each other, which I really enjoy that aspect on this album. And I love the groovy guitar, the bass guitar, the keys, and the drums on the track entitled Fancy. I really liked his vocals on this track, and I liked the way they transition between the next song. I love the drums, the bass guitar, the smooth feel of the track entitled And Then Some, and I like the way his voice and Alex Isley's voice blended very well together. And I like the switch up that they did at the very end when it comes to this track. I love the drums, the vocoder, and the keys on the track entitled Slow Dancing. It reminded me of Computer Love by Zapp, and I really enjoyed his voice on this track. It's definitely one of my favorite songs for the year, and it will be on my best songs of 2023 list, and you guys will see that on Friday. So stay tuned. And I really like the track entitled 2000s R&B with the drums, the keys, and the bass and the guitar, and I like the overall feel of it. I also like the way RL's voice and his voice played off each other, and I also like the key change that they did at the end. And I like the vocals, the drums, the keys, the strings, and the trumpets on the track entitled Wait. It has a 70s feel to it that I really enjoy. I really enjoyed this album as a whole, and congratulations to him on his Grammy nomination, and I definitely recommend you guys go check out this album. The next album that I'm going to be talking about is Kalela's album entitled Raven. When it comes to this album, she incorporated R&B, two-step, breakbeat, and ambient pop. And I really enjoyed this album as a whole. On this album, she's talking about love. And I like the calm feel of Washed Away with the steady synths and her voice. And I like how on this album. A lot of the songs, they transition so well between each other. And I love the keys, the synths, and the drums, and the moving bass line on the track, Let It Go. And I like her voice on that track as well. And I love the thick synths and the drums on the track entitled On the Run. And I like her voice on that track as well. I love the slow drum beat and the keys that are in the background on the track entitled Closure that go in and out. And I like the house drums and the tempo that she did on the track entitled Contact. And I like how there is a change in tempo towards the end of the track. And overall, as a whole, I definitely recommend you guys go check out this album. It's definitely one of my favorites for the year. The last and final album that I'm going to be talking about is Victoria Monet's album. When it came to this album, I like that Victoria Monet showcased the production, the songwriting, and the overall vocals when it came to this album. I really enjoyed this album as a whole. I love the R&B, reggae, and dancehall fusion that she did on the track entitled Party Girls with Banju Banton. And I love the bass guitar and the flute and the party feel that happens with this track. And I like the switch up that she did towards the end of the track. And I love the drums, the bass guitar, and the synths on the track entitled All Right. And I like Kaytranada's production when it came to this track. And I liked her vocals on the track entitled How Does It Make You Feel with the drums, the flute, and the guitar. And I like the strings and the trumpet that's in that track as well. Definitely one of my favorites for the year. And I enjoy the guitar and the way that she did the Charlie sample for the track entitled On My Mama. And I like the horns and the drums on that track. I like the strings, the guitar, the trumpet, the bass guitar, the piano on the track entitled Goodbye. It has a 70s feel to it that I really enjoy. And I like her vocals on that track as well. And I thought it was a nice way to end the album. And overall, I really enjoyed this album. Congratulations to Victoria Monet on her Grammy nomination as well. And I really enjoyed this album as a whole. Definitely one of my favorites. And this is my list for the best albums of 2023. Let me guys know, what were your favorite albums for this year? I really enjoy all these albums, and I would love to work with all these people that are listed for my best albums list. They all creatively did something when it came to their albums, and I really enjoyed it. And until then, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next episode.